Carolyn Small. Ron Wilson do some testing. I remember him. To be seeing a neurologist. Gary Long. How did Becky's knee surgery go? Okay. Let's continue to remember Becky. Others. He's in good spirits. He will be going home Saturday. And he's going back to his apartment. So I think we may see his face here on Sunday morning. Let's continue to remember Whitney and Mike and Colleen and the entire family. Tough situation also. Any others? Not? For Lucas, we have prayer for us? So for tonight, it was going to be missionary night, but you're stuck with me. And that's okay. I enjoy being with you guys tremendously. But I prayed about this last night, and as I went to bed, I was thinking about what can I do Bible study on tonight. And, Ash Wednesday was 20-some days ago, I think, whatever it was. And that starts the Lent season. We start the Lent season leading up to Easter Sunday. And one of the things that's interesting, and when I went to Mount Vernon, there was a few different Nazarene, different things that we were supposed to, join so that we could read and study, and it was part of our classwork when we were doing this. And one of the interesting things, and I learned, and this was back in probably my second year of taking classes, and there are a group of Nazarenes who don't believe about Lent. They don't study Lent. They don't believe that Lent has anything to do with us today. And the group that one of the groups that I'm part of, and it's called Concerned Nazarenes. And they're the ones, and they talk about, and they're the ones that was letting us know through their their postings and things, and they're the ones that were talking about a particular group of Nazarenes, and this is what they believe and don't believe about Lent. So as I was studying, as I was reading about this, so I looked up exactly the thoughts or what Nazarenes believe Lent truly is. And of course, it's one of those long things, so I had to write it down and I have to read it. So bear with me. But this is what Nazarenes this is what we as Nazarenes believe Lent is. And it says, Nazarenes believe the season of Lent is the time of prayer, that time of year that Christians spend preparing their hearts, minds, souls, and bodies to remember the events of Holy Week ending on Easter. And it tells us, they go on to say that the 40 days are symbolic of Jesus' 40 days in the wilderness. And we all remember when he was in the wilderness for those 40 days praying, he was fasting and everything. And what happened to him while he was in the desert? Temptation by, yes. And one of the things that Satan tried to get him to do, because I want you to think about something. If you were to fast, and we all know what fasting is, that's totally not eating. You have to drink to survive. But you can go, I forgot, I wrote it down on the wrong piece of paper, and I cannot remember what it says, how long you can go without food. But during the 40 days of fasting, you are supposed to drink water. And one of the things, you think about even at 10 days, how hungry you would be. So, the devil is going to tempt Jesus. And one of the things that he wanted him to do, because he knew how hungry he would be, he tried to get him to turn the stones into bread. But he did not do that. He was not tempted. He was tempted, but he stayed true to what he was doing when he was preparing, because he was preparing what was going to happen on that Good Friday. We all know the story leading up to Easter. But anyway, then if you go to, and I went to one of my Bible commentaries, and just their definition, this is just their definition, that takes in, because there's so many different denominations out there that look at Lent in different ways. And I've got three things that it truly does go during Lent. But this was a general definition so as not to, and I'm not going to name denominations, but one denomination over here, and a denomination over here, and a denomination over here. And what he said in this definition is, this does not step on any denomination's toes. It allows everyone to understand Lent for what Lent truly is. And then the biblical, as he said, Lent is meant to be a time of repentance. These 40 days are set aside to praise and worship the Lord, to read the Bible more, and to pray more often. And when you look at this, and then when you look at what I read as the Nazarene, and what we believe in Lent, it all goes to those, reading the Bible more and praying more. Okay? So my question is, if you had to, as you were growing up, and some of us are older than others, and I'm not going to say ages, but some of us are older than others. So as you were growing up, what did you learn Lent to be? Anyone else? That's the way, as I was growing up, that's the way I was taught. And I can remember certain things. I was a kid, so I didn't necessarily do it. But I can remember my parents giving up certain things during Lent. And I remember one Lent when I was 8 or 9, Mom gave up coffee. That was not pretty. Just to be honest, that was not a pretty scene, her giving up. But she made it 40 days without coffee. Now, I'm here to tell you, I don't honestly think I could give up coffee for 40 days. But my mom honestly gave up, that one stands out just because you saw the difference in moods. You know what I mean? The calm, cool drinking coffee over here to 3 or 4 days later, I haven't had a cup of coffee. Stay away from, pulling your hair out. Yes. And I honestly, I could not give up coffee. I would give up water before I gave up coffee. Yeah, I know. I'm just saying I would have a hard time giving it up. I guess water is made, coffee is made. Any others? Any other examples of what went on as you were growing up with Lent? And I think that's a lot of us. But I just remember more, I think, because of the difference, how she was from drinking to not drinking, And and that stands out. And like I said, I can't remember what Dad would have given up. Lent is a time to remove obstacles and dedicate ourselves anew to growing in Christ. And that's one of the most important things. If we're going to take anything out of Lent, we need to realize that it's that time when we remove, whether it be the coffee, the favorite toy, or fasting, whatever it is, whatever obstacle is standing in our way that is holding us back and not allowing us to move forward in our faith and to experience a better fulfilled life with Christ. That's one of the most important things that, if I'm going to say anything is important in Lent, that's what is the most important thing, is we have to remove those obstacles. And y'all know the story about if you have a log in your eye, how can you honestly remove the speck out of somebody else's eye? And that's what this kind of reminds me of, is when you're thinking about, there is a lot of obstacles out there that can get in our way if we allow them to get in our way. But that's where the reading the Bible and the prayer and praying, and like Donna said about praying, and Melissa said about praying, we have to spend that time in prayer. If we want to avoid those obstacles and remove those obstacles out of our path, we have to spend time and give it to God in prayer. Because I'm here to tell you, yes, I said that word, we're not going to be able to do it alone. We will not be able to do these things on our own without prayer. We may think we can do it. We may put that proud display up and say, hey, I know I've got this. I don't need anything else. I can do it. And 9 times out of 10, it's going to fall in our face. the first time that we even attempt to remove any of these obstacles. But we have to have the faith, put it in prayer, talk to God, and read the Bible, study the Word, and you will become a new person. And I know you guys are, we all read our Bibles, we all do our personal devotions, and we spend time in prayer. And it makes such a big difference in our lives. We feel so much better. We feel more alive. And most 99.9% of the times, those things that would bother us in our lives, would upset us, would get us agitated, would get us frustrated, no longer do that because we've put that trust in God. We've turned everything over to Him, and He's removing those obstacles that are preventing us from being where He wants us to be. All because we spend time in prayer. And that's one of the most important things, is the obstacles that stand in our way. Now, and this is a personal, you do not have to answer this unless you truly want to, but I want you to take just a second and think about obstacles right now that you might feel that kind of hinders sometimes you, holds you back a little bit. It's not completely holding you back, but just think, is there anything in your daily life that may be an obstacle that is just kind of holding you back a little? And I just want you to think about that. I don't want anybody to answer that. That's something between you and God. But I think sometimes, these obstacles do occasionally pop up in our lives. And, they can frustrate us. They can be a little, cause us to be agitated. But I'm a firm believer, all we have to do is say, God, take this from me. He'll remove it immediately. But as I was thinking about this, and I did a little bit of deeper research as I was studying, and there are 3 things that we are to do during Lent. And like we talked about just a few minutes ago, we need to spend time in prayer. Rededicating our souls, our minds, our bodies, and our hearts to God. It's important during the Lent season, especially. It's not, I said that wrong. Let me rephrase that. It's important that we, not only during Lent do we spend this time in prayer, but it's important in our daily lives for the rest of our lives. Here on earth, till God comes and takes us home. It's not just important during Lent, but that's one of the things that during Lent we need to do. We need to have a prayer life daily. And we can, that does renew our minds, our souls, our bodies, and our hearts. And it also helps us to remove those obstacles out of our lives. So as we go, the next, I'm not good at counting, but today is the 13th, so we got 18 days left of Lent. 18 days left of Lent. So we want to pray, especially for the upcoming services. Especially how we always have a lot of churches always have a lot of visitors on Easter Sunday. So we want to pray for especially a good Easter Sunday service. We're having sunrise service, Easter, and everything. But we want to continue our prayer life. We want to continue it very much. Then we are to we are to fast. Now, we talked about fasting a minute ago, and we know that's giving up. It's not necessarily one of the things that, and Mike alluded to this, fasting is not only giving up, just not eating or giving up food for those 40 days. It's giving up something that you can give up and want to give up for 40 days. Something that, it can be something that's really, really important to you, but it doesn't have to be something that's really important. But part of Lent is just giving up something, and it doesn't need to be something that we know about. Mr. Alexander, because I got both mics sitting right beside each other. So Mr. Alexander, I don't need to know what he may be giving up for the 40 days of Lent. I don't need to know what Melissa is giving up. I don't need to know what Donna. It can be a personal thing. But some people, tell people, well, this is what I'm doing for Lent. Now, my question is, has anybody given up anything during this Lent season that they want to tell me they gave up? And you don't have to. That's okay. But, that's part of it. But this one is the one that I love about, I love the one about prayer. I love spending time with God in prayer. But the third one, to me, is very important, and that is the giving of alms. Who can tell me what that means? Giving of alms. You can call Pastor Bob or Sonny. I'm going to, but give the man a cigar. Oh, wait. Let me say that. Wrong thing to say in church. No, I'm just kidding. But yes, alms is about giving charity, is being charitable to people who are in need. Whether it be food, whatever it might be, alms, the important thing to remember about alms is that we are giving to those who are in need. And we're not doing it because we have to. We're not doing it because any other reasons. We're doing it because God wants us to do it. It's what God is calling us to do. And that's part of being a Christian before to even Lent. But it's important to remember that giving of alms is it's that charitable love that you have for your brothers and sisters that are in need. And one of the things that I think about, right here we have the Veterans Home. And we see Francis, come quite often, and we can do things to help him and help him grow spiritually and help him grow as a Christian. That's what we need to do, and it can be whoever we come in contact with that has a need. That's what we want to do, and we want to reach out to those people. We want to touch their lives, because at some point in time, I think we've all been touched in one way or the other by some type of charitable love from other Christians. And you remember how good it made you feel to know that you were loved. And that's what's awesome. I may find that Mike just needs, somebody to talk to, or just somebody to acknowledge and give him a handshake, maybe a pat on the shoulder. But that's what we have to do. We have to understand what, people need. And that's why, for me, when I think about, after I think about, especially about praying, my biggest thing during Lent season is what can I do to show my charitable love? What can I do to help those that are in need? And we all do it in we all do it in subtle, is that right? It's subtle ways sometimes, and we don't even know we're doing it. We, honestly, somebody may just need somebody, like I said, to listen to them. And you're not necessarily realizing, that Gene over here just needs an ear to listen to, but you all somehow are talking, But Donna's doing all the listening, and that's all she needed. But you didn't know that. But that was God directing you and her together in a subtle way. So sometimes when we show this charitable love, we don't necessarily know that we're doing it. And, now Jean may say, you know what, Donna? I just needed somebody to listen to how I'm feeling and what's going on in my life. Now, she may not, but God knows that you just did something for somebody that needed it. We don't know. We don't always know the needs of people. Unless they are, now there are some people who will come to you and just are able to tell you what they need. I can remember as a young Christian, I had a hard time going to those who were older Christians. If I had questions and things, I had a problem, wanting to do that. Felt like that I wasn't worthy because I was too new of a Christian. But as I got older, I realized that's not the way that I needed to think. Because as a young Christian, us older Christians are there for those who are in need. And that's another way. But there's so many ways that we can show charitable love. If we know somebody that may need some food, you're showing charitable love during Lent. Taking food to the Old Man Rivers or the Trobe Street Mission, you're showing charitable love. There's so many things out there that we can do to show charitable love. It doesn't just have to be certain things. There's so many things out there that we can do. And all we have to do is look at everything that Jesus did when he walked on the earth as a human being and all the things that he did showing love and caring for everyone. Now, I'm going to ask you. I'm going to put you guys, this time, if you guys can give some answers, I would appreciate that. But what are some ways that you feel that you can show love to others, charitable love to others during this Lent season? More personable when you talk. More personable face to face. But at least if you can't be face to face, a phone call. And quite a bit of it has gotten done just. You know that. Probably not. But anyway. Others. Can I use you as an example? I know Mr. Alexander, Brother Alexander, because I got to distinguish. Brother Mike here. But anyway, I know he bought Francis a Bible. That's what I'm talking about. Knowing somebody just needs a Bible. And thank you for letting me use you as an example. I'll let you drive your Beamer to church someday. There you go. Oh, okay. But that's that's finding somebody that has a need. And I venture to say that we all, every day when we walk out these doors into that mission field, I like to call it the mission field because that's what it is for us, we're always running into people who need something. The phone call, to go to a doctor's appointment. So, my challenge for all of us the next 18 days, Not only do we spend the time in prayer, drawing closer to God during this season of Lent, we need, if we need to, if we can, we can give up something. But the most important thing, two things for me that I want to challenge us to do is to spend that time alone with God in prayer, making things, and renewing your heart, mind, and soul, body, Christ. And then try to find somebody, somebody that that just needs whatever it might be. Doesn't have, like I said, it doesn't have to be anything elaborate, but just something. A phone call, take them somewhere, even to the grocery store, just any appointment, whatever. But my challenge is that all of us find somebody that we can show that charitable love, that alms-giving love. So that's my challenge. Those are my challenges for this Lent season. And I really believe that when you do this, you will be blessed abundantly. You will not know how to act with all the blessings that will come your way just by being what God has called us to be. Sometimes blessings just are so wonderful that you just about the only thing you can do is just thank God and cry. That's okay. And we're not doing it to be boastful or prideful or anything. We're doing it because it's what He's called us to do. And just to see, and one of the blessings is just to see the joy in their face. Or when you make that phone call, hearing the joy in their voice. Hey, Donna called me because she cares about me. I haven't had anybody to call, and Donna just gave me a phone call. And you can hear that in their voice. And then if you go in person, you see that. But God will bless you in many, many ways if we just follow suit, do as He has called, commanded, and instructed us to do. And it all comes down to, are we dedicated, committed Christians who are responsible in doing what God has called us to do? Any other comments, thoughts? I'm going to ask Miss Ambrose if she'll close us in prayer. Go in God's peace and have a rest of your week.